everybody, in this video I'm going to be going through the notes for lesson 2.8. In this lesson we're going to be comparing point slope form to slope intercept form. We're going to look at what's the same and what's different and about these two styles of equations. Now these are both equations of lines. So no matter what here, we are writing the equation of a line. The only difference is what we use as our starting point. For point slope form, we can use any point as our starting point. It does not have to be the y-intercept. But for slope intercept form, the starting point has to be the y-intercept. It has to be the point where x is 0 and our b is the y value. So the only real difference here is what starting point we're allowed to use. What we're going to do first is we're going to look at the same line, but we're going to write the equation of that line in two different ways. First, we're going to write the equation of the line in point slope form. Now, in order to do that, we need to identify our key features. So we need a point and we need a slope. Our point can be any point on the graph. So for this example, I'm just going to choose to use this point right here, which is the point -4, -3. Our slope, because this is a graph, we're going to find it by doing rise over run. We're rising 1, we're running 2, so our slope is 1/2. If we put those two key features together, the equation of the line looks like this. Y equals our y value, which is -3, and then our slope number, which is 1/2, parentheses x, and then our x number. Now remember, the x number needs to be the opposite. So instead of writing -4 in my equation, I'm going to write +4. Now, slope-intercept form is very similar, but instead of our key features being a point and a slope, we're going to choose a particular point. We're still going to have a point, but this point is going to be the y-intercept specifically. So it has to be 0, something. On this graph, the y-intercept is -1. And the slope is going to be the same slope I already found. It is the same line. It's just a different starting point that we're using. So if we put those key features together, the equation would be y equals m, so 1/2 x, plus b. In this case, our b is a -1, so instead of a plus, we would have a -1. Now, even though these are two different styles of equation, they both are equations that represent the same line. So different styles, but same line. Let's try that one more time. We're going to write two different equations for this table. In order to write point slope form, we're going to need to identify a starting point and a slope. Now again, we can choose any point we want here. So I'm going to pick the first point from the table. In order to find the slope, we would need to look at the patterns in the table. On the right-hand side, the y column is going up by 10, and on the left-hand side, the x column is going up by 5. So we would have 10 over 5, which simplifies to 2. Using those key features, my equation would be y equals our y value, which is 28, and then our m, which is +2, parentheses x, and our x value, which is -5, but we're going to use the opposite, so +5. In order to write the equation in slope-intercept form, we're still going to find a point and a slope, but our point is going to need to be the y-intercept. So 0 has to be my x. That means I have to use this point from the table. I can't choose any point. I have to use the one with a 0. Now my slope would still be the same slope I already found, so I'm going to just copy it down. It's the 2. Putting those values together, I would write y equals m, which is 2, x, plus b, which is 38. Now, if we graphed these lines, these would be the same line. There's just 2 different ways to write that equation. What we're going to do next is we're going to talk about how to decide if 2 equations are the same line using algebra. So right now, we're going to talk about turning point-slope form into slope-intercept form. And in order to do this, we're going to use our algebra skills. Step number 1 is to distribute. Now remember, we distribute when we have a parentheses, and the operation here is that we are multiplying. So in this equation, I would start by distributing the 2. I would have positive 2x minus 10, and then drop everything else down. I'm going to drop down the y and the equals and the 3. Just drop it like it's hot. Then I'm going to combine the like terms. Now when I'm combining, I'm going to be adding and subtracting. I'm not going to be multiplying anymore. So in this problem, the 3 and the minus 10 are like terms. 3 minus 10 is negative 7. And then I'm going to drop everything else down, the y and the equals and the plus 2x. This equation right here looks a little bit different, but it represents the same line. And you'll notice it doesn't have a parentheses. That means that we've officially created slope-intercept form. Now let's talk about the key features. If I said to you, what were the key features of this original line? You would say my starting point and my slope. In this case, the starting point would be the x is 5, remember it's the opposite, and the y is 3. And my slope would be this number in the middle, the 2. If I ask you what are the key features of this new equation, the slope-intercept form, you're still going to have a starting point and you're still going to have a slope. But because it's slope-intercept form, my starting point x is always 0 and the b is negative 7. My slope is the m, which is 2, which is right next to the x. Let's practice that a few more times. Oh, I should point this out. You'll notice the slopes are the same. No matter what the equation is, it's just the starting point that changes. Let's talk about that 2 more times. So, first we distribute. So we get negative 4x plus 4. And then we copy everything else down. Y equals, and then negative 6. Then we combine the like terms. In this case, the 4 and the negative 6 are like terms. So we get minus 2, and we copy everything else down. That means my slope-intercept form equation is negative 4x minus 2. And if I asked you what is the y-intercept, you know that the y-intercept has to have an x that's a 0, and the y-intercept number is the b from the equation, so negative 2. Let's try that one more time. We would distribute the negative 5 over 2. So we have negative 5 over 2x minus 5. And then drop down the f of x equals 7. Then we would look for like terms. So 7 minus 5 get combined, and we get 2. And then we copy everything else down. F of x equals, and minus 5 over 2x just get copied down. So my slope-intercept form is f of x equals 2 minus 5 over 2x. And if I said to you, what is the y-intercept? You would say 0, comma, whatever the b number is, which is 2. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and please start your practice.